I'm an outdoor adventure educator. I have been all my life, and I retired from that formally about 12 years ago. And so all of my inspiration is pretty much informed and based in being in the outdoors. People call me an artist. I would have never ever. My name's Mike DeRoche, and I'm people call me a blacksmith. I guess that's how I kind of, put myself out there. Blacksmithing was a necessity, back in the day. You needed someone in the community that was able to make things that were durable. So, iron was one of the main things that they used, and what you do is you heat that up. And when you heat it, it goes from a very, very solid material, and it's cool, to something that's a slight bit more plastic. It doesn't, necessarily just fall apart, but it gets softer. And then with a hammer and so on, some tools, you can bend and twist and push this, material, whether it's iron or steel, into the shape that you want. So it was kind of easy for me when I started out to have, to use an old fork and use that and curl that around and make that into like a hanger for coats or whatever. That was easy to do. Or take a horseshoe and twist that around and make it into a hook. It was very simple manipulation of the material. I did start out because I was learning with basic blacksmithy type utilitarian things, making hooks and so on and so forth. And in my mind I was always thinking, well, why? There's a lot of steel and iron around my farm here, on the old stone fences and buried in piles here and there, that, I could use that. And, that was a little bit of the artful component, and kind of the sustainable component, is that rather than me going out and buying material, I just use what there was around and kind of, twist that into something that was functional and kind of pretty.
So what we have here are a couple of pieces of barrel, which was what they're reminding here, Mike. Hi, we're the Pattersons, Renee, and I'm Dave. We are also supporters of the studio tour as advertisers, because we have another side to our business, which is recreational geology, and we are currently at one of those locations. It's called the Barrel Pit at Quadville, Ontario. It's a location that we keep open for folks to come and visit and collect their own minerals and start to get appreciation for nature. Now, most people come in here to collect crystals of various sorts. We have brought along today some examples of material that can be, and we do, turn into gemstones and jewelry. And you know that this environment, in this part of the world, there's lots and lots and lots of iron.
Right on. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I had these things sitting here on the on the property, and eventually, once I retired from outdoor adventure, I was kind of looking for something to do. I thought I'd just live the life and have fun with my grandkids, but it turns out, I got into blacksmithing and got the forge going and got a few tools, and a lot of local guys gave me stuff. The anvils basically were all given to me. All the vices, everything that I needed for basic stuff was right there. And so at first I just was making trinkets for friends and family, and then folks from the local farmers markets, asked, whether I could come and show some stuff there, and that just snowballed. And, I find myself here now, doing mainly sculpture and less of the formal blacksmithing utilitarian pieces and just more artsy pieces. I'm amazed at how things kind of happen. If you just stick to it long enough, you know, people say, oh, I can't do that. How could never do this? I don't know how you can do that. You know, how you can envision, how you can make that. It's like, man, you know, from my point of view, all it is me sticking with it, you know, seeing it through. And I know that almost anybody could do this as long as they just had the will to kind of push through all the blocks that occur along the way. You know, you just kind of keep pushing it until you like it, and then, yeah, it's good or whatever, you know, it works, I think. It works for me. The pleasure or the amazement comes when I'll start a piece, and you know, it's just like Lego in a sense for me. At first, you kind of plunk the pieces together, but then you want to put movement into the piece, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of cutting out pieces that don't work. Oh, no, the head on this is too small, or the wings aren't quite the right shape, or the head should be this way, or the beak isn't quite right. You know, if it's a bird, but anything else, you know, you kind of morph, and then all of a sudden, it looks like I want it to look like. You know, it looks good. And that always amazes me, because it starts out as just like a bunch of pieces of metal, and then all of a sudden somehow, I've never considered myself an artist. Like, you know, 15 years ago, I'm just some guy with a paddle and some rock climbing gear, and I'm just teaching this stuff, you know, on a mountain bike. I don't know any of this stuff, and all of a sudden it's kind of morphed into something where, wow, you know, people call me an artist? I would have never